to the Big Dam. It's your boy, Bobby Hill. Hope y'all doing good today. Happy Friday, as we always do. Let me give a shout out to my lovely wife. She's at work right now, holding it down. My rock and backbone. Ain't nothing changed. Same thing. It ain't on me. It ain't on her. We're all leaning forward. So yeah, ain't too much. It's hot out here today. Ain't doing some work today, and trying to get back into it a little bit afterwards. And I was just looking, like some, trying to do this format thing. So today, just try, whatever's up here, whatever I feel like catches my mind. So I was, let's see, one thing that caught my mind that I wanted to talk about was the story where I was Georgia, and so Georgia, where the Israeli, customer went to Burger King. And I think he had either whatever he had something that had the Star of David on it, and I guess the young lady that was working there asked the man, like, where are you from? I guess he told him he's from Israel, and then she said, free Palestine. The man was recording it, and he got a refund. He left, and just this is 2026. Soon as he left, he posted online with some old quote like, is it safe for Jewish people to eat at Burger King? Stuff like that around here catches on, and it got with numbers when things get a following that makes corporations open their eyes and look up and stuff. So it caught their attention. So to not get negative attention from potentially get negative attention from the Jewish population because of one person, they decided to fire the young lady. And I think afterwards she got support online. I think they gave people, complete strangers gave her a total of like $180,000 or something. Man, it was very, very good. I would like to see that because I feel like that was, that girl was treated badly, all because she just, expressed her opinion. And these things with, Jewish and Israel and all that, man, to me, I mean, it's always been the same to me. I know how to, separate the government of Israel from the Jewish people. They are not the same. And people try to treat them the same. The Jewish government tries to treat them the same. So when you attack, when you say something about, the government is, and more importantly, you know, you talk about Benjamin Netanyahu, who was the prime minister of Israel. He gets in his feelings, and they claim it as an attack of the Jewish people, and you hear that word every time, anti-Semitism. That's such a blanket statement. You say anything against the government of Israel, they call it anti-Semitism because that word sounds so, inflammatory, and it sounds so like, I don't know, it just sounds for some reason around here it gets people riled up, anti-Semitism. Just saying you don't like the government and what they're doing to another country, anti-Semitism. How is that? How's that? Saying you want another country, another people to exist or have their freedom. How's that being anti? How that being anti-Semitic? Just like the Jewish people aren't. Just like just like the Israeli government isn't. That's not the Jewish people. Hamas is not the Palestinian people. So you don't blame a whole country for the actions of a few. That's the same thing we do around here. blame everybody for the actions of a few idiots. You know, do I support Israel finding Hamas, the group who attack their people and getting them? Yes, they attacked you, get them. But am I a fan of killing innocent people to do that? No, no. I'm not a fan of when we did it. I wasn't a fan of the war down there. I wasn't a fan of Iraq war. I talked about it when we first started. I'm like, I was like, we got, 9/11 was happening. Bin Laden was in Afghanistan and Pakistan. What the hell are we doing in Iraq? Iraq didn't have nothing to do with 9/11. I thought this was retaliation for 9/11. Next thing you know, we find out we simply selling an old score, a son's old score for his daddy. So, it's just, I'm just saying the whole thing with Israel, especially with this country, man. I'm one of those people. I don't. I agree with Al Saeed. I agree with Mandami. I agree with any other person who feels like that the taxpayers of this country have gone through too much and go through too much every day to have their dollar to go somewhere and support a country that is killing innocent people, a country that hasn't done anything to help the United States. What have they done with all that money we sent over there? What kind of return have we got for that? Nothing. Nothing. But they don't want to talk about that. For when you talk about that, they label you anti-Semitic, which is BS. That's why you got to cut through all that tape, man. Cut through all that smoke, man. Stop letting these people define what you're talking about. And when you talk about stuff, you just need to talk about it with some sense, like you know what you're talking about. Don't be up here jabbering stuff, just staying one-liners and acting like an idiot. Yes, they're gonna get you, but if you go up here, explain yourself and explain how you feel, people will not understand. Intelligent people who got simple, not people who know how to critical think. They they will understand what you're saying. You know. So, I mean, I think it's just a shame how people can speak their mind just because a certain group of people don't like what you say. You're not saying anything bad. You're not saying anything because you say free Palestine. Free Palestine don't mean F Israel. You know. So I don't understand that, man. Especially with this country, man. People are, you know, people are anti-Palestine. Like, why are you anti someone not getting damn bombed? You know. So why I don't get that, man. I don't get why it's not like ain't saying just because you support Palestine don't mean you support Hamas. You support things, the tragic things that are happening in Israel by the hands of Hamas. Just because you say you pro Palestine don't mean you support that. There's levels to it. You can split hairs. You know talk about I support this, but I don't support that. It's like saying I support the United States, but I don't support racism. See what I'm saying? So yeah, it's tricky out there, man. It's tricky, and I just don't like how I just don't like how these senators, these House members on both sides of the aisle. This is not, I know I talk junk about Republicans, and I sort of, sometimes I hit up on Democrats. I'm talking about all of them, all of them in the pockets of the Israeli lobby. All of them get that money from Israel. All of them. That's why the United States keeps blindly sending so much money over there because the Congress are so all of them are so you know I don't know. I don't understand. They have convinced people that Israel is. I don't know what like method. Israel is to the United States like Mecca is to Muslims all over the world. I don't understand, but I don't get it. But the government, like the Congress, the legislative branch, and the executive, all of them, they are beholden to Israel like blindly, like they can do no wrong. So when you do say something bad about them, they try to paint you as anti-American. Because you talk about, because you say you don't like Israel, they say you anti-American. That's how they try to frame it. Just it's just so crazy how they try to do it, man. It just do not make any sense. So I don't get it. I do get it. I mean, I do get it in this country, man. Just people find a way to and find a reason or trying to find a way just to divide people more. That's all. That's another way to divide. When you divide people, you conquer them more, you control them more, and you can steal their money more. When you got them thinking about this over here while you picking their pocket. That's all it is, man. They trying to create this. The media creates all this. Not all. I'm not the person. I like media. I like the media, and I like what they're I like their contributions to the American society in general. They were created to put a check on the government, so the government can't do anything behind the people's back. So I'm not against media, but there just because media is out there don't mean all media is good. So there are like they paint you got people over there like at Fox News that's all in on Israel. You say anything about Israel, man, they'll paint you as anti-American, anti this and that. And it's always it ain't always about race, but it's always that's about it's white people. White people who want to be up in arms when you say something about Israel and stuff. I don't hear no black people get all up in arms about Israel, like saying or any other just white people. They get up in arms about Israel. So honestly, I don't get it. That's all. What have they done to deserve that type of loyalty from us? What name one thing they have done? They have done. They're trying to do more for us than Israel, but we ain't loyalty. We ain't doing that for China. Look at your clothes. Look at your Look at your clothes. Look at all your appliances and stuff. Taiwan and damn China do more for us than Israel, but you don't see us breaking down, giving them our tax dollars. No, but we get Israel, don't get nothing back in return. Just says it's like a one-sided relationship. After a while, you get tired. Whoever's the giver in whatever relationship, man or woman, whatever. One person doing all the giving and another person not getting anything back in return. They might be infatuated by the person for a while, but after that infatuation goes, all they gonna get tired. Right now, I don't know if there was ever any infatuation with Israel. I guess there was with a certain section of the population, but now that infatuation is gone for most people, and they are looking like, "What the hell we doing, man? We sitting over here struggling over here." I see homeless people right here every damn day. See abandoned buildings. See this stuff that's bad that can be fixed with dollars that's going over there to Israel. Make it make sense. I was on these roads on the highway driving trucks. And how much stuff you seen that could have, how many highways or bridges and stuff they could have got repaired with money that they sent over there to Israel. I'm just saying. How many places get flooded because the damn drainage system is clogged up because they don't have the manpower or the equipment or the money to clean it out. So places get flooded because the town or the municipality or the city or whatever don't have the money to fund that. So places get flooded that they don't need to get flooded. You know that money that we sent over to Israel could help stuff like that. You know, this is everywhere. This is not just in particular places, man. You know, there's drainage ditches, and there's sewage systems that are clogged up everywhere all over this country. Money that's sent to Israel could damn clean out some of those places and help these places so they won't be flooded when it rains and things. They don't want to. You know, they prefer to keeping Benjamin Netanyahu happy. Nobody here in this country, except for very few, very small percentage, give a damn about Benjamin Netanyahu. And one of them passed away a couple weeks ago, Lindsey Graham. And that's it. And then just in general, man, you see how people are. You just see how you think it's. I mean, you get mad when somebody like me always talk about white people like this, like that, like this. Like I bring up race, they'll be like, "Oh, you're a race baiter." Oh no, I'm not a race baiter. I just bring up stuff that I see, man. And it's a certain, and I see a certain segment of population that do certain things. If I say something, I'm just telling you what I see. You know, it's funny that when you start out with like I said, the mayor from New York, Miami, and the guy I think it was El Said from Michigan, the guy that won the Michigan Democratic senatorial primary. And you see how they are already starting on Fox News, everything, bringing up trying to make people, basically white people, because we know what's going on, trying to make people Islamophobic. It's back again, man. You hear Ted Cruz talking about they gonna get rid of Thanksgiving and Christmas. And what kind of stupid? I mean, so they see stupid stuff like that, man. These people still get elected, man. That's what's so sad about this system, man. You got these people who are saying some of the most stupidest stuff, man. Ain't nobody thinking about taking care. Ain't nobody thinking about taking away no Thanksgiving or Christmas. Even though Thanksgiving was founded, the foundations of Thanksgiving was a mass murder. Oh man, ain't nobody ever talk about getting rid of Thanksgiving, but people don't really, growing up or whatever. You really never, they really never, they give you some watered down story about some pilgrims and Puritans and Indians and all that, man. They never give you a true story of Thanksgiving, man. They never tell you like what happened and stuff. They never tell you, I forgot the names and stuff, but it was the Puritans that came in, and they when they came in Plymouth, Massachusetts, they came in during the time where it was cold, so excuse me, they had a hard time like farming because of the soil and stuff. So the indigenous people there taught them how to use fish or use whatever they needed to fertilize the soil to grow plants so they could survive. In return, the Englishmen introduced weapons, guns and stuff to the indigenous people. So they were sort of learning. They were trading off each other. Like I said, you know, like Melvin say on Baby Boy, the barter system. So they was helping each other. So whenever the indigenous people, the tribe, they had a enemy tribe that territories, even though they was all indigenous here, don't mean they got along. So they had people had their territories. I guess they have their eye on another group's territory. So they used with the guns that they got from the Englishmen and the extra bodies, they did a sneak attack in the middle of the night and killed the tribe, and sneak attacked and killed them and did everything. What you think what happened, you know. And then in celebration of that, I call it that would be a cowardly attack. in celebration of that cowardly attack, they had Thanksgiving. They had a feast. They had a feast celebrating their triumph. And that feast that they have, materialized into Thanksgiving. And that's where we at with that. So, when people don't tell you the whole story, man, it's good to learn stuff, man. It's good to learn like why you or don't just rely on things that you're told growing up and that's gospel, man. You got to do some research. You got to dig a little deeper. You got to scratch the surface, dig below the surface and find out what's really going on. Especially in this country, because things don't ever take things at face value. You always got to scratch underneath and see what's going on, Ryan. Because this country has a history of people backstabbing, slick talking, the straight, robbing people, stealing, murdering, and everything. So you got to damn always, especially with all this stuff that you grew up like worship, not worshiping, but growing up thinking things are one way. Then when you grow up and get perspective and get knowledge and stuff, you realize that damn, that ain't right. You grow up thinking like Keith Sweat, something just ain't right, and that's what it be, man. Everything about this country is everything is great about this country. Supposedly great about this country, something ain't right about it. It's always came under some sort of, you know, dishonesty, crime, or something. So yeah. But like I said, don't fall for these people, telling you now everything they're gonna talk about Muslims. Like, one person, one senator was saying, the his opponent, I forgot his opponent's name, was saying that, he, said America deserved 9/11. They're gonna throw out all these things to try to, trigger your emotions back during that time. So don't fall for that, man. It's easy to say stuff and get people riled up and shoot out lies and stuff. And that's what these people are good for. They're good for lying because they know all you need to do is get it out there in the public. People, most of the time people don't, discern whether it's a lie or the truth. They just hear about it. Oh my God, he what? He said America deserved 9/11. It don't matter if it's true or not. Even if they find out it's not true, when they find out it's not true, it's already imprinted in their brain. So it's hard trying to get that off of them. They still gonna have that just because of that lie. And that's what they do. That's what these Republicans do. Especially that's what these white men, that's what these Republicans do. They get up here and shoot at anything because they know with low educated, low information voters, this stuff is gonna stick for a little bit. And all they needed to do is stick long enough for them to get past these primaries. That's all they need. And after that, they don't give a damn. So that's why you got to get through all. You got to know what these people are doing, man. You got to know. Don't fall for all this stuff, man. Ted Cruz, Rick Scott, even that. Oh my God, the word. I don't. Maybe that's just the representation of the dysfunction in the United States government. The hell they elected Tommy effing Tuberville in the damn Senate, man. And he said there should be a 30-foot wall around Alabama. So you trying to protect Alabama from Muslims, or you trying to protect the United States from Alabama? Which one are you trying to do? I was looking online and people were like, that's really not a bad idea. To my people from Alabama, only need to be around people from Alabama. But yeah, man, it's just this crazy stuff people be saying that we allow into the government now, man. It's just I don't understand why. I understand why it's so dysfunctional now because the people you allow, man. This is not it's like it was in high school or in school and stuff. When you vote for president, vice president of your class and student body and stuff, it's never about the best person or the most qualified or the smartest who have the best ideas. No, it's all about popularity. It's a popularity contest. All that shit. All this government is a popularity contest. and people who are competent, man, if you don't got nowadays, especially with Trump, man, if you don't got a punchline, if you don't got some quick one, corny ass one line or something, man, these people will think you boring. You can have all the best ideas, but people don't vote. People, I don't know, man. People don't vote when they common sense no more because they say common sense ain't that common, and you see that on election day. So people vote against. What's crazy is like white women. They vote Republican. Why? These the same party who said the term legitimate rape, and that's who they vote for. They vote for. I mean, they vote with. These men show you every day how they feel about you, and you still vote for them. You know, I'm just saying these people who vote, like I always wonder, like these people who voted for Trump, like especially these women who voted for Trump, man, and when like they get older and stuff, like when these daughters they see this stuff from Trump, they know everything's online, so it's always gonna be around forever. When they see this stuff like what Trump said in the Access Hollywood video, when they learn about everything he went through. What they gonna say to their daughter when his daughter? Somebody ask them like, "Hey, mom, why did you support a man who would grab me by my private part?" I mean, if they got that question, what would they say? I hope they get that question. I hope they be embarrassed, don't have nothing to say, and don't have anything to say. Probably gonna come up with some lie. But it's crazy, man. It shows you how I don't know, politics is so poisonous now. It makes people throw away their common sense, or throw away their decency, just to be in the in crowd, just to be with, just so you can wear a damn red hat. You know, and my man had that black man out there with, Trump endorsed this black guy for running for, I think he was running for House or one of them positions somewhere, man, and he got thumped. He lost. Cause you out here trying to be somebody that you not, man. It's funny, man. What was the funniest thing about Trump? Seeing all them black guys, them senators, the whatever, what's his name? Scott. I don't even know his name. I call him Mushmouth from Fat Albert. A man from his name Tim Scott, yeah, from South Carolina. And Byron, whatever. I don't know these cats now. I don't even want to know their name, but you know what I'm talking about. All these cats that were sitting up there carrying Trump water during the damn campaign. What happened to them whenever Trump got in the office? Back in the field, nigga. That's exactly what he told me. I'm sorry. Damn it. I don't care. That's how they talk. That's exactly what he told me. You know. And it's good enough for them. It's good enough for them because that was that. I'm gonna tell you exactly who they were. I didn't get a chance. I went live during Malcolm X. So only reference I got, I go out a movie, go by Denzel Washington, and he said talking about the slave that's in the that when people try to escape, the ones that don't want to escape, they brainwash. They the one that starts trying to call the master's property their property. What's the matter, boss? We sick? That was them. That was them, all of them. What's the matter, Trump? We sick? What's the matter, Trump? We got COVID, Trump? What's the matter, Trump? That's them. That was all of them. And look at them now looking like idiots. Idiots. You sold your soul now. I bet you can't even go to the cookout. You the same color these people. They gonna whoop your ass, you go to the cookout. And these people got the nerve be talking about, well, America ain't a racist country. Ain't a racist country. Oh my God. I don't even want to talk about that. Not today. That's for another time. Just talking about these people that's Islamophobic. Talking about this guy, man, just because there's nothing saying there's nothing wrong with having a Muslim, a Jewish, a Buddhist, or atheist in the government, as long as they know how to run the government. Because there's supposed to be a thing because the separation of church and state, where you don't govern off of your religious beliefs. That's why this country was formed. So these people sitting up here getting all mad because a Muslim is going to be in a Muslim is office, a Jewish person, I don't know, an atheist, I don't know, somebody that worship. I don't care who they worship, man. They can worship damn monkey feet. I don't care who they worship, man. As long as they can do the job, I don't give a damn. I don't care who they worship, what they worship. No, they run. They can, do things and run the country and have this country, like it's supposed. Because don't people act like so so-called Christians have ran this country the best? Nah, look where we at now. If they did, we wouldn't be in this mess we are. Christians supposedly were the best at running this country. So, like I said, these people that have a problem with people that are not Christian, that don't identify as Christian, running for office and winning. There's people that have a problem with it. To hell with y'all, man. This is this country now. This country's a melting pot. It's always been a melting pot. And I don't give a damn how much Trump whines and get old fat white men to work for him and ICE and try to get as many immigrants as you can. This is a country of immigrants, man. Immigrants aren't going anywhere. But you will in a little while, Trump. So I'm just saying, people need to wake up. That's people need to wake up and realize this is what people are tired of seeing the same thing up here in government. They want to be represented, and not everybody's represented by a white Christian man. Period. A white Christian, supposedly straight man. Period. Not everybody subscribed to that damn magazine. So don't get mad. Don't get mad when that House of Representative or when that chamber don't start looking a little bit, have multicultural, multicolors, have a bunch of hues there from the light to the dark. That's how it's supposed to be, because that's how this country is. Can't have a bunch of light people trying to govern a bunch of dark people. No, they don't work like that. They don't work like that. You want this country to run. If you can, if you want this country to run like you're supposed to, you got to have the people representing each other. For real. That being said, I'm about to go. Enjoy my weekend. I just wanted to get up here today and do a couple things and show y'all what's going on, and show y'all love, and show y'all that I'm here to do this. I'm here for real, and I'm gonna stay here. I ain't going nowhere. I love doing this, and we're gonna continue to do this. Shout out to my man Ant Live. Shout out to all my family in Clinton. I always show love, always give, because you never know. As I always say, kiss your kids, kiss your loved ones, because you never know. It might be the last time. You never know. So I'm going to enjoy y'all weekend. I will see y'all Monday. We're going to do it again. If, we talk about, whatever. We got to do sports Monday, so we figure out something to talk about, something interesting happen. We're going to make it live. So I'd like to thank y'all for being here with me. Like I said, I love y'all. I will see y'all Monday.